live in Mexico's Riviera Maya. What a gorgeous day again, Sylvia.
Exactly. It's beautiful. The sun and everything. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. The atmosphere.
People are so much in such high spirits. It was lovely talking to
They are
CJ
drinking
and
what?
Jeff.
The dairy monkeys?
Dairy monkeys. I want one of those.
Can we have some of those?
Definitely, we'll ask our producer for some of those.
Just kidding.
Yeah, it's happy hour here all the time, of course. And I mean, not always happy, all the stories we have to cover, but I mean, this is another big story. It's hit all the world's news, I mean, this week, the headlines, and it's still a developing story. I still haven't kind of got my head around all of it, you know, about how Russia is supposedly now being labeled culpable for attempting to poison a former Russian agent or a spy in the UK, and it's caused an uproar in British politics. It's caused an uproar across the world. I mean, the United States are lending their support to the issue as well, because once again, we're now, accusing, not saying directly Vladimir Putin gave the order, but they're saying somebody high up, and they believe it's Russia, gave the order to poison, to attempt to murder a former KGB agent. And, Sylvia, this is really worrying, that something happens on UK soil of this magnitude, and the way it's playing out, it seems that Russia are acting, they're sending some very sarcastic messages out about denying responsibility, but the sanctions, that came out yesterday by Theresa May in Parliament, this is no laughing matter for the British government, believe me. They are really pissed off.
They are very furious, of course, and if they are right to do that, then of course it's a measurement to take. I have a question, Elliot. I've been reading about worldwide history, and also I've been I saw some videos. I watched some videos about them because I wanted to read their body language from Theresa May, from Vladimir Putin. And, I wanted to hear what they were saying, and I wanted to read their body language to interpret a little bit somehow what is happening, because a lot of things that happen of this kind, many times actually it's somebody else trying to move things around and trying to make appear to the world something that is on their best interest. So, of course, there are many possibilities in here, I believe. One of them is exactly what you just described, which is, a complete and full attack against UK, making them feel like, oh, I'm strong and you are weak. Definitely, that's one of the good possibilities of it. But the other one, I see Trump creating a very strong team, and he's dividing countries. He's dividing China. In one hand, he brings China in his team because he needs him against North Korea, but on the other hand, he's making him some tariffs, and he's just blocking him somehow with tariffs or with different other situations or stuff or factors. And Putin, he's a very powerful man. And of course, I have a question for everybody here. Everybody, maybe we could actually come out with some ideas or perceptions, of course. For instance, Russians are very smart. Number one, they have done this in the past, so there is a pattern that they could do it again exactly the same way. But here's a question, they're very smart. Why would they set so much poison on so many evidence around? Why would they, blame themselves, but on the other hand, they would have to deny that they are doing that? Number two, this is about one spy, right? Ex-spy, I believe, right?
Yeah, he's 66, he's basically
retired.
Yeah.
So what would that represent for them? Like, they could do that like with one spy that is on duty, on a current duty. That would make more sense to me. So I'm just trying to understand. Theresa May, when she was declaring all of that, her body language and the way she was really saying things, more than being political wise, he was very angry, of course. But he was angry as if there was a bomb on and killed 300,000 people. That kind of angriness, and over one spy. So then I'm not saying that that's not, his life is not worth it, but I'm saying that her body language and Putin's reaction and the way Putin was saying things which, like you said, on one hand it looked like sarcastic, but on the other hand he was playing more a politician role, I believe, when he was answering to that. But there is one thing also, evidence. No one. I read a lot. I don't know if you come up with something real, but no one actually have proved, yes, it was Russians. Because what if it was, let's say, Chinese trying to blame Russia, and they got some, like Russian poison to bring them or to lead them into Russia's possibility that they were guilty.
This is their MO, though. This is their modus operandi, because they have done this before. Back in 1971, again, there's lots of examples, but even in London, an ex-KGB agent who was working as a BBC journalist, he was killed the same way. He was murdered with a poison, a chemical. They put it on the tip of an umbrella, and that was what led to his demise. And what typically happens with Russia as far as dealing with traitors, or what's going on right now in Putin's government, which is leading so much of the media to glare at him, is there's talks of corruption, mega corruption, because he's like their president for life. We talked about China's new president for life the other day, and having absolute power means that Putin can basically give any order. He's got a lot of business corruption going on. He's got people, even in opposition, who are going against him in parliament. They're too afraid to try and talk negatively about him. That his reaction to a BBC journalist this week was simply, I'm here to talk about agriculture. Don't come to my doorstep with these accusations until you've got hard evidence. Then I'll sit down and I'll have a chat with you. He's so, what an attitude, he just brushes it off. You saw him earlier in the week talking about, again, if Russia were proven to have been involved in the election meddling last year, he was like, I'm so done with that already, He's like brushing that one off as well. You talk to him about doping in the Olympics. I have no idea about what's going on about Russian athletes being, doping. Nothing about these labs, where, drugs have been approved. No idea about. He doesn't know anything that's going on, right? That's not Putin.
No, of course not.
When he wants to know, he's got his finger on the pulse of everything. You do not. If any order has been sanctioned, he's going to sign off on it.
I agree with you, and I'm just concerned if things actually is about to divide or to wrest some power from Putin, to take some power away from him, because of course now the whole world, it's going to be against Putin.
It's really damaging.
And that represents,
perceptions.
That he loses some kind of a power somehow.
It's really unfortunate for Russia too.
Yes, but at the end of the day, if that comes to worse, then, I'm sure Russians are very smart as well, and they will probably play another kind of role to controverse their image. But on the other hand, if actually it's real, then I'm sure also UK, once they found the proofs, right now it's only evidence, but there's no proof yet.
Not yet.
But UK, I'm sure they have all the tools to actually come out with actually proofs.
But the information is so highly classified that the likes of us, it may never see the light of day, because they always say classified, right? This is CIA, this is MI6 level information. Hey, and it doesn't just stop there, right? For years, it's agents, spying and counter-espionage. Okay, it's a global thing. US has spies, UK has spies. I can't imagine the UK doing something like that in Russia, trying to take out one of their own as a traitor and exposing Moscow or St. Petersburg into a chemical scare.
Right.
That's what it is. It's bringing the country's national security interest or its alert even higher.
But that's exactly why I have that question on my mind. Because why did they choose, if they were the Russians, why would they choose a guy that is already, it was an ex spy. It was not a spy on duty.
We've got to find the motive, because
that's exactly.
what's happening right now, everybody's saying anybody that is anti-Kremlin or anti-Putin
And,
is
as far as I
danger.
know, he's not dead, is he?
He's still
In
critical,
critical
and his
conditions.
daughter as well. Let's hope they pull
Exactly.
through, because, you know,
We
his
hope-
daughter came to visit and has been caught up in it. She's only 33.
Horrible.
And a police officer, a British police officer who was first on the scene at their home,
Horrible.
I mean, that's where they think the source of the contamination began. He's critically ill. So, I mean, and you've got 250 of Scotland Yard's finest, you know, operatives trying to figure out exactly why this has happened with no cooperation from Russia whatsoever. So
Well,
we'll bring you more as we find out more, and we'll be asking your opinion later on. What do you think
Please.
of Vladimir Putin? We'll be right back after the break.